Good morning and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. As we continue this week looking at the books of the Apocrypha, let me remind you that these books, while not considered scripture, are good for reading and spiritual strengthening. And the two books we'll explore today do indeed have something to say to us. Our first book is Baruch. You may remember a few weeks ago when I did a week on Bible people you've never heard of, Baruch was one of those. Baruch was the scribe who wrote down the words that the prophet Jeremiah spoke. You might remember also that what was going on at the time was that the kingdom of Babylon was besieging Jerusalem and eventually conquered the city and took the people off into exile. And so the book of Baruch in the Apocrypha is addressing that situation. It's written to a people conquered and away from their homeland. Did Baruch write a book of his own words? Well, no one knows if he wrote it himself or not. In fact, there's pretty strong evidence that the book is a compilation of material from at least two different sources, and possibly even four. The book is structured into three parts. First, a prayer of confession and petition, which is read to the deposed exiled king and then sent to the other exiles with instructions on how and when to use it. Second, a poem like wisdom literature, which says that Israel has forsaken the law of God, and that's why they are now in exile. And then third, a poem urging the exiles to believe God will deliver them and provide for them a glorious future. In this last section, they are encouraged over and over to take courage. There's another book in this same vein, the letter of Jeremiah. The letter of Jeremiah in the Apocrypha presents itself as a letter from Jeremiah to the exiles. It's interesting to note that if you look at Jeremiah 39, there is an actual letter from Jeremiah to the exiles, and that is in the Bible. However, in this book from the Apocrypha, the issue that is addressed over and over is to guard against worshiping idols. It's an easy temptation in a foreign land. When Babylon had conquered Israel, they would have thought that God had been conquered by Babylon's God too. So your God has been conquered, and you are living among people with different beliefs, and the longer it goes on, the easier it becomes to assimilate yourself to them. The letter of Jeremiah points out in 10 sections how ludicrous it is to worship idols. He says things like, humans made them, so humans are more powerful than idols. He goes on and on like that, ending each section with the words, it is evident they aren't gods, so don't fear them. In the end, the letter of Jeremiah is understood as a bit of humor and satire, poking fun at and mocking their conquerors. Nevertheless, these books can speak to our times too. When we're having difficult times and all seems lost, when we have been conquered and don't see any hope for the future, the book of Baruch can encourage us to take courage. That can be especially true right now as we're tired of this pandemic and just wish it would go away. In the midst of that, we are encouraged to know that we belong to God and that God will deliver us. Likewise, the letter of Jeremiah speaks to our time as well. We may not have idols of stone to worship, but we have plenty of idols in our world. Many worship the idol of wealth or status or popularity or comfort or complacency or, well, I could go on, and I'm sure you get the point. That which is most important to us is our God, our idol. Someone once said that the most theological document each of us has is our checkbook. An examination of how we spend our resources tells us a lot about who our idol is. But these things aren't gods, and we shouldn't bow down to them. These two books encourage us in hope and urge us to faith. This is a good message for today. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.